to the Mission Dorothy podcast with your hostess, Tamikis Williams. Hello, and thank you so much for joining me today on Mission Dorothy, the podcast. Today we are going to cover our second to the last episode related to the 8 domains of wellness. In this episode, we're going to talk about vocational wellness. Vocational wellness is defined as gaining personal satisfaction and enrichment from one's work, whether that be academic work while in college or a job after graduation. So, vocational wellness is all about gaining personal satisfaction and enrichment when it comes to your work, whether you are a student graduating from college, trade school, or you are on the job or seeking a job. Okay. So with this domain, it's very important for us to really think about vocational wellness because this is where we spend a lot of our life, right? We spend a lot of our time at work. So it's very important for us to be really exploratory in this area, especially when you are young and you're coming out of college or you're going into college. You really want to think about your degree program because there are degree programs that people are having a hard time looking for a job, such as communication and what's the other one? Criminal justice. So when we think about the cancel culture when it comes to college degrees, I think it's because a lot of people think that college degrees are not worth the money. But it is worth the money when you're clear about what it is that you want to do. If you know you want to be a doctor, then you know you have to have a degree. With that, doctor, therapist, social worker, teacher, biologist, etc., right? Like there are certain professional fields that you have to be degreed in. So I think a lot of people have utilized going to college and wasn't really clear about what they wanted to do when it comes to employment. And therefore, they just kind of picked a degree program, or their parents may have pressured them into picking something that they did not want to do. And then once they graduated, things did not work out that well for them. So with that being said, it is important if you are in high school, getting ready to go to college, or if you are in your freshman year and undeclared or really not sure about what it is that you want to do, really sit and think about that. Think about your degree program. Go on the occupationalhandbook.com, and that website gives you a lot of information about all different types of careers. But really look within yourself and think about the things that you like, the things that are important to you, that set you on fire, that you would really be willing to do for free. Okay? So back to our goals when it comes to vocational wellness. So we have a couple of goals in this one. Let's see. We have a good 7 goals under vocational wellness. And our first goal is to increase your awareness of the wide variety of major/career opportunities available to you. So that speaks directly to what I just said a while ago. The occupational handbook it's a handbook that gives you a overview when it comes to all kinds of careers. And so definitely take a look, look at your hobbies, look at your interests. Think about when you were a child, what did you really enjoy? And this is for individuals going into the job market, as also those who would like to change their career. And so you want to think about the things that you enjoyed as a child, the things that you often think about, but, keep procrastinating on gaining experience, or, just kind of working toward getting back around that the atmosphere that supports the career, right? And so, you really want to sit and really increase your awareness when it comes to the wide variety, right? Nowadays, everybody wants to be a entrepreneur. Everyone wants to be the boss, but real talk, everybody does not have what it takes to be an entrepreneur nor a boss. Some people are really just supposed to be workers. And I mean, that's honest, right? We had this real big boom of entrepreneurs during COVID, and a lot of those businesses have closed because, people got back to work. People started back watching how they spent their money. And so, life just changed. And so we want to make sure that we are aware of the wide variety, right? When it comes to career opportunities. So that's number one. Number two is challenge societal sex role and other barriers that limit major/career choices. So they're saying here, don't think about, oh, well, this is a male driven field, or, this is a female driven field. When I think about being a social worker or a therapist, it is definitely female driven, but oh my God, do we need more men? Right? We need men of all races, because the men are out here suffering. They too would like to have a male therapist. They too would like to have community and therapy groups with men, male therapists, and it's just a huge shortage out here. Also, when we think about the field of social work, working with our children, working with families, we do need that male perspective as well, not just the female perspective, but we need the male perspective. These kids need to have men around them who can be role models for them. Like, brothers, please understand, we need y'all out here. I'm not saying y'all ain't working, but I really wish that men would reconsider going to college. And I'm not saying that men are not in college, but I'm just saying when we look at the statistics show that women are, the main enrollees when it comes to college. And so, fellas, we need you. We need you in all careers, from nurses to doctors to biologists to social workers to primary care physicians to, in every sector, teachers, oh my God, teachers, professors, like, we need you guys. So don't get caught up in roles that are predominantly female or predominantly male. Just get caught up on what you want to do, what you feel you're capable and able to do, and what you have a fire for. Right? Because you can come in as the opposite sex and make strides in the field. You know what I'm saying? I remember when I was in college and the sociology professor told me that I should not pursue sociology because at this time I was undeclared as a freshman. And she told me that it was a male-driven field. And, at the time, I was new to college. Granted, I was a grown woman, age 30. I really was just kind of exploring fields. But when I look back on that, that was disappointing. It was disappointing that she would tell me that it was a male-driven field and basically was trying to persuade me not to go that route. When in actuality, she should have really, supported me in, trying to gain insight and understanding when it came to being a sociologist, irregardless of who occupies the space at this time, So don't always listen to folks because they have their own personal reasons why they do things. Okay. So yes, challenge societal norms, challenge the societal sex role and any other barriers. Oh, well, it's not a lot of black people in that field, or that field is predominantly this race or that race. Don't worry about that, because what is for you is for you. Go in there, make strides in that field, knock it out the park, and don't worry about society and what it thinks and say. Okay, get out there and do what you need to do, because the society is not writing your check, and You want to be able to have a job that you enjoy, not a job that you dread and just really hate to have to get up and go there every day. Right? All right. So, goal number 3 is explore your interests, skills, and values and needs and how they relate to your major or your career choice. So, I was right on. I think I started this podcast episode, out on a good foot, right? Because it looked like I'm covering, I spoke briefly about some of these goals. So, explore your interests, skill set, values, needs, right? So explore your interests. Do you have any interests? Anything that you used to do that you stopped doing? Anything that you've always kind of had in the back of your mind, but you've never taken the course or, you know, just kind of dipped your big toe into that area, right? Do you have any interest when it comes to think about it, like painting or photography or helping people, right? Creating resources for the community or, think about what's important to you and then figure out what career needs, what career matches what's important to you, right? So some people are givers. They want to help. They want to give back. So definitely social work is, a great field to go in if that is what you want to do, right? But also, being a school counselor, a school social worker, a psychologist, a school, all of those are helping fields, right? You have the medical field, nurses, you have, so many different types of tech, uh, you know, in the hospital arena. So there are so many things that you can do based off of your interests. You just have to sit and take some time to really think about what is it that you really enjoy. Because I'm telling you, we spend a lot of our life on the job. Okay? So be mindful of that. So explore your skills. So explore your skill sets. Take a look at your resume. Take a look at all the jobs and all of the skill sets that you've learned on your different jobs and think about those skill sets that you really enjoy, right? Do you like administrative work? Do you like working by yourself? Do you like research? There are so many careers, from sociology or education administration, or, there's so many different utilization management. There are so many different fields you can get in or jobs you can look into if you like, depending on what you like, right? So really think about your skill sets. Are these skills transferable or are these skills just for this job, right? So really sit and think about that because the same skills you have on one job, you might be able to transfer those skill sets over to another job, right? So like really sit and think about that because a lot of times people think that they have to have experience in a certain field, but in actuality, for some jobs, you just need to have the skills. And you may have half of those skills on your current job that are transferable skills that you can transfer over into a new field. So that's definitely something to think about as well. And then it also says explore your values and needs. So you want to think about, your values, what's important to you. Is there anything connected to your religious beliefs? Is there anything connected to, wanting to uplift African American kids or children with disabilities? So think about your values. Also think about your needs, right? How old are your children? Do you need to be at home by a certain time? Do you need to make a certain amount of money? Do you need to work a certain amount of days a week? Like you sit and really think about, do you need to make a certain amount of money, right? In order to take care of you and your family, or to just take care of you if you're single with no children. Do you have caviar wishes on hot Cheetos budget? My God, Tamikis, where did I get that analogy from, right? But think about that because, if you know that you like to live lavishly or, don't like to be limited financially, then you want to think about a job that is going to really pay you well, right? So, like it says, this is our third goal, and it says explore your interests, skills, values, and needs and how they relate to your major or career choice, right? So, again, when we're talking about vocational wellness, we're thinking about whatever you may major in, whatever you may go to trade school for, as well as your career choice, okay? All right. So, goal number 4 for vocational wellness says choose a major or career direction that reflects your values, preferences, interests, and skills. So it kind of seemed like this is repeating itself a little bit, but I think we've talked about that, right? You want to look at jobs that reflect your values, preferences, interests, and skills. So when we talk about values, again, your religious beliefs, or is there something that you believe in, right? That is important to you and you would like to be able to work in the field that is connected to that. So again, if you want to give, then you can definitely be a case manager, you can be a social worker, you can work for the homeless or people with disabilities or children in foster care. But, just think about your values, think about your preferences. What do you prefer when it comes to your job? Do you want to work alone? Do you want to do paperwork? Do you want to deal with the public? Do you want to work with children, older adults? So you have to really sit and think about, your preferences, your interests, as well as your skills, right? Is there something you were doing when you were younger? Were you cutting everybody hair? Were you braiding everybody hair? But somehow went into a whole nother career. Would you like to revisit maybe going to cosmetology school or barbering school or esthetician school? I have a friend who has been working in a career and she's decided to switch over and go to esthetician school. And, I'm so proud of her for that because it was something that has always been sitting in the back of her mind. But now is the time where she feels, now is better than never, right? And so here she is, getting ready to embark on a new career. And I really love it too because she is around, she's a little older than I am, and I'm 50, and I commend her because, at this age, some people may think that it's too late to start over. And it's not, you know what I'm saying? As long as you're breathing, you can, continue to learn new skills and, continue to revamp your professional life. So I think it's fantastic that she's willing to start a new career, but she's going to still continue doing what she's doing part-time. But she would definitely love to go back to a interest that she's always had and never explored. And I think that that's just absolutely fantastic because it shows she's not putting any limits on her life. Fantastic. It's very inspiring for sure. Okay, so again, choose a major or career direction that reflects your values, preferences, interests, and skills, right? All right. So our fifth goal is understand the relationship between your major or career choice and other parts of your life, such as with your family, spouse, partner, leisure activities, and friends. So you really want to think about that because oftentimes, you can get a job. The job will ask you to be on call. And this can limit your time when it comes to spending time with your friends and your family. This can limit your sleep. I remember when I worked for Department of Children and Family Services, and y'all, I kid y'all not, if somebody phone ring with that ringtone from that on call 7 days a week, 24-hour on call phone, I would literally jump. And it's been years since I've worked there, but I will literally jump today. Like that ringtone, I can't even describe it to you, but when I hear it, oh my God. Oh my God. It's man. And I could not stand having to be on call because I would have to get my child out of bed 2 in the morning, pick her up, take her over a friend's house, drop her off or over a family member, go on the call to somebody's house, and then I'm having to go back, pick her up, come back home only to get another call. Oh, it was a wreck. So make sure you understand the relationship between your job, right? Your job of choice, career of choice, and the parts of your life, such as your family, when it comes to your kids, your spouse, partner, leisure activities, and friends. Because you can also get a job that wants you to work on the weekends or every other weekend as well. If you're already working 5 days a week and then you also have to work every other weekend, then, that too would definitely limit your leisure activities and your friends, and time with your friends, unless you guys can kind of do that in the evenings during the week. But also, if it is a job where you work a couple of days out the week and you have to work every weekend, then that too can put a hindrance on your time with others, as well as reduce your activity level. Well, I'll say limit it, because you can still find things to do during the week, as well, and friends and family can still make space for you during that time as well. And so, but you do have to consider that, because sometimes people will get a job and they will say, oh, I didn't know, I had to be on call, or I didn't know I was going to have to work on weekends. And now they're upset, or just dreading going to work. Right. So this is important too, because I want you guys to also think about when you go on an interview, because often people do not, when you go on the interview and they ask you, do you have questions? A lot of times people say no. But let me tell you something. This is the time that you set yourself apart from other employees. Possible employees, right? Because this can set you apart from everybody else that is applying for the job. Because when you walk in there and you say, yes, actually, I do have some questions, it makes people understand that you do hold value, right? Toward yourself, right? That self-esteem is definitely there. Some confidence is definitely there, but it helps them to understand that, you're not just somebody hungry for a job, but you also want to know, like, what you are giving yourself and your time and attention and skills to this job, but what all are you getting from the job outside of a paycheck? So every time I went on interviews, I always had questions. Actually, I drafted, I think it was like 10 questions. And every time they would ask me, do I have any questions? I would say, actually, I do. And then I would go in my little folder and pull out my little 2-sheeter. And y'all, every time I did that, the people, my interviewer, the people that was interviewing me, they would crack up laughing, right? And it makes you like they don't forget me. And I'm telling y'all, I have always gotten the job every time, right? I'm not saying it was just because of that, but every time I get the job, and then they always bring that back up once I'm on the job, and just we end up talking about my interview or something. They will always say that they were impressed by the fact that I had questions to ask, because most of the time people do not ask questions. Okay. So, so it just shows, that you are inquisitive. It shows that, you want to know what you're getting from this job, because you know that you're going to hold value there, and they will be getting from you. It helps them to also see that you are inquiring about the job's process, the hierarchy. When you're asking important questions, such as the hierarchy, if there's an issue, who do I go to first, second, third? Is there a chance to move up on this job or get raises? Who is my main support system on this job? So you have to really sit and Don't be afraid to ask questions because I'm telling you, they really do like that. Like really, they do. All right. So our sixth goal for vocational wellness is develop effective job related skills in, oh my God, y'all, these are so key. Assertiveness, because asking those questions is showing assertiveness, right? So develop effective job related skills. Make sure you have these skills when it comes to assertiveness, confrontation, feedback, time management, active listening, and motivation. And it's so many others that could be added on to this list, right? Um, Especially like de-escalation skills, because somebody piss you off on the job, you need to know how to de-escalate so you can keep your job. All right. So when we talk about assertiveness, we definitely want to make sure that we have assertiveness skills, because jobs really do look for individuals who are assertive. They're not looking, they are looking for assertiveness. Some jobs, to a certain extent, they want to put limits on it. Some jobs really want you to be assertive depending on your position. And some jobs do want you to be passive because, you got the micromanaging. They don't want you to ask questions. They want you to be, to just do what they tell you to do. But make sure you get you some assertiveness skills, because when you are assertive, you're not letting people run over you. You're not allowing them to put you in any kind of uncomfortable positions. They're not putting all of the responsibility on your shoulders. You're able to call somebody out if you need to. You're able to go to management if need be. Like, assertiveness skills is key on any job. Any job, whether you are just starting out as a new college grad, high school students going to Chick-fil-A, or someone who is on their second career, right? So assertiveness is key, because no ma'am, no sir, will anybody take advantage of me on a job. And they will try, right? Now, some jobs, if you're assertive, they may not like it because it'll put a target on your back, right? And they'll say you're not a team player and this and that, because they want you to be passive. I don't stand for that. I have definitely had jobs where I have had leadership who wanted me to be passive. And because I was assertive, it was a threat, right? And they treated me as such. I've had jobs where my own clinical director tried to set me up to get fired, right? Thank God that God set my table in the midst of my enemies, because I had proof to show that she was definitely lying. But the crazy part was that the HR decided to still put me on a 90-day probation, even though I had over 20 pieces of proof to show that the clinical director was lying in her own handwriting. And they still put me on a 90-day probation and withheld my raise. Ain't that some crap? But baby, they didn't stop nothing. They tried hard, but they did not stop anything. You know what I'm saying? What's for you is for you. So definitely make sure you have some assertiveness skills. Also, confrontation skills, because as I said, and y'all probably have heard me in past podcast episodes, but my God, when you are an assertive person and you're not willing to let people treat you any kind of way or try to get you to do all, illegal things on the job, and you're speaking up for yourself and holding people accountable, it can definitely put a target on your back, and there will be a lot of confrontation, right? I've had people call me names in my face trying to provoke me. I have been groped on a job, and I tell y'all that it was a lady, and I wanted to bust every tooth out of her mouth, but I'm not a violent person. But, man, did we get close? Because, that's a whole conversation there, child. But I had to remind myself of who I was, what licensure I held, how hard I worked to get it, the fact that I had a child I was having, trying to take, that I was taking care of, child, a mortgage, a car note, all the things, you know what I'm saying? So I had to really remind myself quick, because if I would have punched her in her face, I would have lost it all. You know what I'm saying? And the agency had good enough sense to move her, to another location, because listen, baby girl, I don't play that. Okay, in no form or fashion, I don't. And you better be glad you walked out that office walking. Anywho, y'all, I'm not a violent person, but you know what I'm saying. I'm not for people touching me any kind of way inappropriately. I don't care if you feel like you playing. I don't play like that. Okay. Anywho, flashback. So them confrontation skills is key. And especially when you're working in the mental health field or working with children, you will have some confrontation, whether it's with kids, with the parents. And you really have to learn how to implement, you know, de-escalation skills so that you don't lose your cool, right? Because there is always someone that is going to try you on your job. So you have to learn how to stand up for yourself with confrontation skills, but you also need de-escalation skills so that you can de-escalate yourself and not get fired, get arrested, or hurt anyone, right? Also, you want to have skills when it comes to giving feedback. A lot of people are afraid of giving feedback, especially honest feedback, because they feel like they will lose their job. I really feel like feedback is key, because when you don't say anything, sometimes it speaks louder than saying something, right? And when you don't say anything, it makes them think that how they are treating you or the culture of the job, the office, is okay. And it's not okay, right? Especially when you're working in a toxic environment. So feedback is key. You just have to know how to carefully choose your words, and know the right person to give the feedback to where it's going to count. So don't be afraid to give feedback. If they ask, give it. If there's some to give, you know what I'm saying? But do know that sometimes there can be consequences for giving feedback, and you have to be willing to be brave, to put it out there. So that's definitely up to you, but I definitely would give feedback for sure. Because like I even ask my clients, like, to give me feedback in surveys, and I want them to be honest, because I want to be able to fix anything that I'm doing poorly, and so definitely sometimes the time with sessions, I know me and other therapists talk about it, but, you end up going over from one session to the next for several reasons. And so that's definitely something that I struggle with, because sometimes you may have a client who is, they can be having passive ideations, and they tell you right at the end of the session. Sometimes you have a client that is in tears, and I don't want to just say, okay, gotta go. So just a myriad of things. Sometimes I may lose track of time, you know what I'm saying? But one thing I do is make sure everybody get their full time. Okay. But it is something that we all kind of struggle with as therapists, just from a myriad of reasons. So feedback is key, right? Because this is how you are able to be your best and be professional, especially when you're owning a business, right? And when you're serving others, you know what I'm saying? Because you want to make sure that you're not offending anyone. You want to make sure no one is offending you, right? If somebody is treating you rude, if they are, being unprofessional, inappropriate, you want to give feedback, because if you don't speak up for yourself, then hey, who will? It's a lot of coworkers, but a lot of times others aren't willing to stand up for you. right? Because they're afraid to lose their job. So feedback is definitely a good skill set to have too. We also want to talk about time management. And I just kind of talked about that too. With my job, sometimes it's hard to manage that time for a myriad of reasons when it comes to the sessions. But time management is definitely key. Sometimes we can, have a lot of time, but if we are not planners, if we don't have things written on our schedule, if we don't, maybe go ahead and handle the most important things first instead of handling the things that aren't as important first, then we can lose time when it comes to dealing with the things that are most important. So time management skills is key because it ties to your productivity, and a lot of jobs are productivity driven, and you want to make sure that you're utilizing your time properly, right? And also too, it's important because if you utilize your time properly, you can get things done, you can get off work on time so that you can go home and spend your time with family and friends as well as yourself. Okay. Another skill set is active listening. So active listening is key because often people listen to respond instead of listening to actually hear, gain insight, and perspective. And so active listening is key. And if you are not sure about what someone said, you can always say, I'm sorry, do you mind repeating that? Or so what I heard you say is, so that you can make sure that you heard them right. Right? We don't want to assume. We don't want to jump to conclusions. And we don't want to walk away thinking that this person meant one thing when in actuality they meant something else. So active listening means that you are listening in order to gain insight and understanding, and you are willing to ask questions in order to gain clarity. Okay? All right. And then last is motivation. We all know how important this is, right? So motivation is definitely key when it comes to your job related skills, right? Because you need to be motivated to do your job. I honestly think that at most jobs fail in this area, when it comes to motivating their employees. I'm just going to put it out there. And the reason why I say this is because, yeah, you can get the good job and great job. That's always great to hear because it says that you see me and you see my work. But I know when I worked for public health, I will say one of the things that they did do good was they used to give us these cards called Above and Beyond. And anytime you did a good job and they feel that you went above and beyond, they will write that out on a card. And then in the staff meetings, they would present you that card, just as a token to say, I see you, I appreciate your work, I see that you went above and beyond, and just to acknowledge you. And so I definitely love that. And then they would do like ice cream socials sometimes and deliver ice cream to all the locations. When they changed their logo, they had cakes made and they had the new logo on it, and they had a cake delivered at every office. They used to have these CEU days where we would close everything down and we would go and have classes to take. And sometimes it was like I took a coupon class. They had classes that had nothing to do with the job as well. And then we had I think it was like a little fashion show, like a funny fashion show or something like that where people dressed up. And so, it's like it was a day of fun, right? They gave out awards, trophies. And so I just thought it was fantastic. And so that's what I mean by motivation. Yes, please tell your employees, your colleagues, great job. I see you working hard. I appreciate everything you do. Thank you so much for staying late. Oh, I appreciate you coming in early, especially if you are in management. Don't take people for granted. Okay? Tell them that they're doing a good job. Sometimes people just want to be heard and seen, especially on the job when they are, spending their time. Yes, you pay them, but people need more than just that check. And, it's like when you show people that you care, when you show them that you appreciate them and their time and their education and their skills, it makes them it It makes them want to come to work. It makes them, not dread work, right? They will have a better mood when they come to work. You know what I'm saying? People will get along better. But if you have a office full of people who can't stand the job, or because you got some micromanaging manager or some know it all, or just the personalities on the job, y'all. When you have those little personalities, the know it all, the kiss butt person, the person that talks about everybody, the dramatic person, the manager's pet, the person that is in everybody's business, like, y'all know the personalities. It's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. And I think a lot of times companies don't really look at the culture of the office, right? That is something that is so important. I really think that companies need to look at the culture of the office, because that sets the stage when it comes to how well people behave, treat each other, interact, the personalities, smiling, all of that plays a part when it comes to, it all depends on the culture of the office. So if you are in management, please find little ways to show your staff that you appreciate them. Yes, tell them verbally, but find little ways to show them that you appreciate them. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes buy some donuts, or give everybody if you got petty cash, buy everybody a little $5 I don't know, gift card to Dunkin' Donuts. You know what I'm saying? They can get a coffee or something, but bring a coffee pot in the office so that people can, and provide coffee. Like, it's the smallest things that count. You know what I'm saying? Utilize, like I said, the above and beyond, cards, and, pass those out to your employees. Give out awards, certificates, like, really go above and beyond for your staff. You know what I'm saying? All right, y'all. And this last goal for vocational wellness is understand how many people change their major in college and their career direction many times throughout their lives. So understand how people do this. I talked about this earlier as well. Is, sometimes people think that they have to spend their life in one career. You don't, right? Oh, I'm too old. I'm too this. I'm too that. Y'all, when I went to college at 30, there were people sitting in class with me 59. Okay? So it's like, you're never too old to change careers. It's all about you. Age is just a number. You know what I'm saying? Old is a mindset. I've seen some people in their 80s younger than people in their 20s. You know what I'm saying? Just as joyful and having just a good old time. So understand that you can change your career. Understand that you can change your major if you're in college and you recognize that here you are 2 years in and you realize that this is not the degree program for you. Go ahead and switch up. You know what I'm saying? Switch now instead of later. Instead of getting a degree in something that you don't want or you're not going to use, go on and switch up while you're in that college mindset. Don't be afraid to do that. Or if you got a bachelor's in something and you're not really happy about it, go get a master's in something that's closely related. You know what I'm saying? That will give you maybe that extra that you're looking for, right? If you're or get a master's in something different to where you can change careers. But don't ever think that you have to stay in a career for the rest of your life. I was a cosmetologist for 15 years. I switched up. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have to stay a cosmetologist. I keep my license up to date because, hey, I went to school and Listen, you never know. So I keep my license up to date, but I switched careers. I switched, and I was 30 when I went to college. I was in a good mindset. I was ready, and I was excited about college at that time. You know what I'm saying? And so you can definitely change careers, right? You can change. If you're a teacher, you can easily change careers. And there are a multitude of other careers in education, you know what I'm saying, that you can do, right? If you are a case manager and you would like to go to college and get your degree and become a therapist or a social worker or a sociologist, or you can do that as well. So never think that you are stuck in a career. You're not. You're only stuck if you allow yourself to be stuck, right? So there are people who have had many different careers. You know what I'm saying? And so don't limit yourself like that, because this is how people end up in careers for years, and they feel so unhappy with life because the one place where they spend a lot of their time, they're not connected to it, and actually they can't stand it. You know what I'm saying? So I was trying my best not to make this episode too long, but as you guys can see, vocational wellness is key. It is so important for you to take some time to go through these goals and just kind of do a check-in with yourself, just to see, where you are in your life at this time when it comes to your work, right? Whether you are already working, or you're in college getting ready to graduate, or you're in high school getting ready to go off to college. Really give your vocational wellness some serious thought. Okay, so I'm going to go through these 7 goals again so that you guys will have them and you can sit down and assess with yourself. So the goals for your vocational wellness are: number 1, increase your wellness. I'm sorry. Number 1, increase your awareness of the wide variety of majors, if you're in college, and careers opportunity available to you. Increase your awareness of the wide variety of college majors and career opportunities available to you is number 1. Number 2, challenge societal sex role and other barriers that limit your major or career choices. Okay. Number 3, explore your interests, skills, and values and needs, and how they relate to your college major or career choice. Number 4, choose a college major or career direction that reflects your values, preferences, interests, and skills. Number 5, understand the relationship between your major, right, your college major, career choice, and other parts of your life, such as with your family, spouse or partner, leisure activities, and friends. Number 6, develop effective job-related skills in assertiveness, confrontation, de-escalation, feedback, time management, active listening, motivation, and the list goes on and on, right? So make sure you check in with yourself when it comes to job-related skills. And last, number 7, understand how many people change their college major in college and their career direction many times throughout their lives. So what you might want to do in your 20s, you may not want to do in your 40s. Okay? All right, you guys. So I hope that this helps you to gain some clarity around your vocation. And again, take some time to do an assessment and go through and just take a look at each one of these and just see where you are when it comes to your vocational wellness. All right. All right, you guys, you have a fantastic one. When I log off here, I am going to go ahead and record the last 8 Dimensions of Wellness episode, which will be financial wellness. Okay. So I am going to go ahead and upload this episode. And then right after this, the following week, we will have the financial wellness episode ready. All right, you guys, you have a fantastic one. I hope you're finding value out of the 8 Dimensions of Wellness. And I will see you in the next episode. Peace and blessings.